friends, it's day 722 of the unprovoked Russian invasion of Ukraine, and this morning the Russian terrorists attacked Ukraine with missiles aimed at Poltava, Lviv, Kyiv, Dnipro, Zaporizhia and Khmelnytsky. More than 10 missiles were heading towards Lviv. The air defense eliminated most of the threats. However, an object of civilian infrastructure was hit, according to the mayor. 2 civilians were injured. All missiles were intercepted over Kyiv. No damage or casualties were reported this time. In Dnipro and Zaporizhia, the infrastructure was hit, and when we're talking about the infrastructure, we're talking about the power grid, water facilities and such. In other words, 100% civilian targets. Around midnight, hours prior to the extensive strike, Russian terrorists attacked the city of Chuhuiv, causing significant damage to the civilian property in the area and resulting in death of a 67-year-old Ukrainian woman. You may ask, what is the logic behind striking civilian objects? And the answer is, of course, there's a logic from a terrorist standpoint, because in terms of the war of terror, civilians are always considered a good and easy target. Terrorist groups like ISIS, Taliban or Russian Federation always target civilians because it generates fear and chaos, which they believe will help advance their political, religious, ideological or military goals. And of course, the war of terror is an important part of the hybrid warfare. Because the Russian Federation constantly strikes civilians, it was recognized as a terrorist regime by the European countries in October 2022, as well as NATO Assembly in November same year. The Russians have indeed targeted military targets at the beginning of the war. However, the ongoing persistence of Ukraine in fighting for its freedom has led the Russian terrorists to perceive every Ukrainian civilian as a legitimate enemy. Consequently, Putin, harboring great animosity towards Ukraine, is willing to sacrifice a significant number of his own citizens in order to eliminate the Ukrainian nation. The horrible Russian attack on Ukraine is considered by multiple experts as a preview of a potential future Russian invasion of Europe. It is important to remember that Putin made promises not to attack Ukraine multiple times since 2003, when he signed an agreement acknowledging Ukraine's border. In my opinion, Tucker Carlson should have questioned him about this agreement, if he was a real journalist, of course. Now, switching to a more positive news, Matt Wallace, the recognized worst crypto influencer on Twitter, published a propagandist video featuring, the mighty Russian fleet, and stated, quote, "Anyone who believes Ukraine can beat Russia is clinically insane," end of quote. Shortly after that, the community reminded Matt that 4 out of 5 large surface vessels shown in this video have been sunk by Ukraine, which doesn't even have its own fleet. In my opinion, this case deserves to be nominated an Ownage of the Year. My friends, with that I wish you all a beautiful day. I'm Operator Starsky. As always, be safe.